Hello everyone, welcome to another Create a Sim Showcase. I'm Leora Sims. And this sim is my sim self. And I'll tell you how I created my sim self. Those of you who have watched my Create a Sim Showcases from the beginning know that the first episode of my Create a Sim Showcase was a self sim of my grandmother as a young adult. I was always told that I looked a lot like my grandmother, but my grandmother never believed it because my grandmother could never get past the fact that she was a blonde and I'm not a blonde. So she would always say that she doesn't look like me. Um, but other people said that we looked alike. And if you look at pictures of her mother, my great grandmother, we have the same face. So I look very much like my grandmother's mother, who is my great grandmother. And I know this because I've seen pictures and it was scary how much I look like her as a young adult. And I had always seen pictures of my great grandmother as a little girl when she was a lot older. So I never really saw the resemblance until I looked at her as a young lady on her wedding day. So how did I create my sim self? I took my young adult grandmother's sim self into Create a Sim. I said create sibling and then create and randomize sister, and I got a sim that looked very much like me, and I just changed the hair color and a little bit the shape of the eyes and the eye color, and I might have changed the skin color slightly, but I didn't have to change it all that much. So I created my sim self using my grandmother's sim self that I created earlier as my template. So that's how I was able to get this sim self. And I think it's a pretty good sim self. I think it's as close as I can get using base game items only. This hairstyle was the hairstyle closest to mine. This is my formal wear. Or my sim self formal wear. This is everyday. This is athletic. This is sleep. This is party. And this is bathing suit. my traits are family-oriented, creative, bookworm, and domestic. And I want a successful family linens. It was hard to pick the traits for my sim self because the Sims 4 only gives you 1, 2, 3 traits over here, and then you have your aspiration. And I debated whether to put good in there or geek instead of family oriented because the aspiration is family oriented based because I want a successful family. But ultimately the family oriented here went out. I couldn't replace the creative with anything else. If I could replace the family oriented and just keep this domestic trait, I would make my sim self good or a geek. Because really, that is who I am. And let me go over my walk style. This is the closest to my walk style. And it's not because I have any swagger, it's because I have a physical disability, and that is the closest to how I walk. I decided today to do a showcase on my sim self because I'm going to use my sim self next week in a video. In fact, if you've watched my videos in the past, I'm sure you saw this sim self before and you just didn't know that it was me, or you thought that it may be me, but I never said that this is my sim self. I had her in a video in a clip because I got my sim self's violin skill up to level 10. Because I love music, I'm musically talented, and my grandmother always wanted me to learn the violin. She loved the violin, and I didn't learn the violin, but my sim self has violin up to level 10. And while I was doing that, I recorded some clips and used it for another video. So as I said, you have seen my sim self in at least 2 videos if you've watched my channel for some time, and it was just never confirmed that this is my sim self. But now it is. And I'm going to use my sim self next week for a very special lot showcase. So that is why I chose to do my Create a Sim showcase this week on my Sim self. So, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you watch my very special lot showcase next week. Stay tuned and subscribe.